वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्गायते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्येश्वरम्. Hari Om Tat Sat. Okay, dear devotees, a little sorry that I was held up somewhere, so I was not able to just log in. So I'm sorry I joined late. If I come late, you can do kirtan. Anyway, let us see. Or you can ping me in WhatsApp. Okay. So we were not able to finish the introduction. Your exam is ready. It can be any time tomorrow. I'll send you in WhatsApp. Keep looking at the group so that you can take the exam in your time. You'll have some window of period. Within that period, you should have completed it. You'll see the rest of the message tomorrow. Okay. So now, where did we stop yesterday? We already saw whatever whatever somebody thinks at the time of death, he will attain the next body based on what he is thinking the full life. So we should remember Krishna. And what is the secret of remembering Krishna always? Is by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, chanting his holy name, always as much as possible. So we were seeing Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu Mamam Anuspara Ujjeta. We saw that. Yam Yam Vapi Smaran Bhavam, that also we saw. So we stopped there, and I think we are in the fag end of the introduction. Okay. Okay, I don't think we read anymore. Okay. Somebody can start reading from here. Today we need to finish reading this. So maybe you people can continue reading one after the other. And at the end, I'll just give a basic explanation and we can wind up. Okay. Kindly start reading.
How is this possible? The Acharyas give the following example. If a married woman is attached to another man, or if a man has an attachment for a woman other than his wife, then the attachment is to be considered very strong. One with such an attachment is always thinking of the loved one. The wife who is thinking of her lover is always thinking of meeting him, even while she is carrying out her husband's chores. In fact, she carries out her household work even more carefully so her husband will not suspect her attachment. Similarly, we should always remember the Supreme Lover, Sri Krishna, and at the same time perform our material duties very nicely. A strong sense of Krishna and at the same time perform a strong sense of love is required here. If we have a strong sense of love for the Supreme Lord, then we can discharge our duty and at the same time remember Him. But we have to develop the sense of love. Arjuna, for instance, was always thinking of Krishna. He was the constant companion of Krishna and at the same time he was a warrior. Krishna did not advise him to give up fighting and go to the forest to meditate. When Lord Krishna delineates the yoga system to Arjuna, Arjuna says that the practice of this system is not possible for him. Arjuna Vacha Yoyam Yogas Tvaya Proktaha Samyena Madhusudana Etasyaham na Pashyami Kanchalatvat Sthitam Sthiram. Arjuna said, O Madhusudana, the system of yoga which you have summarized appears impractical and unendurable to me, and for the mind is restless and unsteady. But the Lord says, Yoginam api sarvesham mad gantentara atmana shraddhavana bhajate yo mam same yakta tamo mata. Of all yogis, This one with great faith, who always abides in me, thinks of me within himself, and renders transcendental loving service to me, is the most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. That is my opinion from Bhagavad Gita 6.47. So, one who thinks of the Supreme Lord always is the greatest yogi, the supermost gnani, and the greatest devotee at the same time. The Lord further tells Arjuna that as a Kshatriya, he cannot give up his fighting. But if Arjuna fights remembering Krishna, then he will be able to remember Krishna at the time of death. But one must be completely surrendered in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. We work not with our body, actually, but with our mind and intelligence. So, if the intelligence and the mind are always engaged in the thought of the Supreme Lord, then naturally the senses are also engaged in his service. Superficially, at least, the activities of the senses remain the same, but the consciousness is changed. The Bhagavad Gita teaches one how to disturb the mind and intelligence in the thought of Lord. Such
Hey,
absorption
not
will
disturbed, observe.
the Bhagavad Gita teaches one how to absorb the mind and intelligence in the thought of Lord. Such absorption will enable one to transfer himself to the kingdom of the Lord. If the mind is engaged in Krishna's service, then the senses are automatically engaged in his service. This is the art, and this is all the secret of Bhagavad Gita, total absorption in the thought of Sri Krishna. Modern man has struggled very hard to reach the moon, but he has not tried very hard to elevate himself spiritually. If one has 50 years of life ahead of him, he should engage that brief time in cultivating this practice of remembering the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This practice is the devotional process. Shwanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Padas Sevanam Archanam Vandanam Dashyam Sakhyam Atma Nivedanam. Srimad Bhagavatam 7.5.23. These nine processes, of which the easiest is Shravanam, hearing the Bhagavad Gita from the realized person, will turn one to the thought of Supreme Being. This will lead to remembering the Supreme Lord and will enable one, upon leaving the body, to attain a spiritual body which is just fit for association with the Supreme Lord. The Lord further says, Abhyasa Yoga Yuktena Chetasha Nanya Gamina Paramam Purusham Divyam Yati Parthamanunchate Parthamanunchityan. He who meditates on me as Supreme Personality of Godhead, his mind constantly engaged in remembering me, undeviated from the path, he, O Arjuna, is sure to reach me. Bhagavad Gita 8.8. This is not a very difficult process. However, one must learn it from an experienced person. Tad vignaratam sa gurum eva bhigachate. One must approach a person who is already in the practice. The mind is always flying to this and that, but one must practice concentrating the mind always on the form of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna or the sound of his name. The mind is naturally restless, going ether and thither, but it can rest in the sound vibration of Krishna. One must thus meditate on Parampurusham, the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the spiritual kingdom, the spiritual sky, and thus attain Him. The way and the means for ultimate realization, ultimate attainment, are stated in the Bhagavad Gita, and the doors of this knowledge are open for everyone. No one is barred out. All the classes of men can approach Lord Krishna by thinking of Him, for hearing and thinking of Him are possible for everyone. The Lord further says in 9.32 and 33, Mami partha vyasa parsritya yepi shyo papa nayaha striyo vyasya tatha shudras tepi yanti param gatim kim punar brahmana punya bhakta raja rasya tatha anityam anukam lokam imam prapya bhajasva mam. Thus, the Lord says that even a merchant, a fallen woman, or a laborer, or even human beings in the lowest status of life can attain the supreme. One does not need highly developed intelligence. The point is that anyone who accepts the principle of Bhakti Yoga and accepts the Supreme Lord as the summum bonum of life, as the highest target, the ultimate goal, can approach the Lord in the spiritual sky. If one adopts the principle enun- enunciated in Bhagavad Gita, he can make his life perfect and make a permanent solution to all the problems of life. This is the sum and substance of entire Bhagavad Gita. In conclusion, Bhagavad Gita is a transcendental literature which one should read very carefully. Gita Shastram, idam punyam, ya pathet prayata puman. If one properly follows the instruction of Bhagavad Gita, and one can be freed from all the miseries and anxieties of life, Bhaya Shokad, Bhaya Shokdi Varjita. One will freed from all fears in this life, and one's next life will be spiritual. Gita
Hare
Mahatma.
Krishna. Thank you, Om Govindarai Prabhu. So, from here, the Gita Mahatmya starts. So, yeah, so the introduction is over. Thank you, Prabhu. So, from here onwards, if you see, one will be freed from all. So, there is also further advantage where here Gita Mahatmya 2. This is Gita Mahatmya 1. So, Gita Shastram Idam Punyam Yah Padet Prayata Bhuman. So if one properly follows the instruction of Bhagavad Gita, one can be freed from all kind of miseries and anxieties of life. So that is an advantage. And after that, Sankaracharya, he had written slokas glorifying Gita called Gita Mahatmya. So glorifying Bhagavad Gita. So it starts here. Purva Janma Kritani cha hi papani, like that. So if one reads Gita very nicely with all seriousness, then by the grace of the Lord, all reaction of this past deeds will. So in this way, second, third, fourth, like this is there. And after that, this is also from Gita Mahatmya only 5, and this Gita Mahatmya 6, Gita Mahatmya 7, in this way. So this is the last sloka which is given glorifying Bhagavad Gita. After that, the list of disciplic succession from starting from Krishna till Prabhupada is given. So this is last 32 is A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and the starting is Krishna. This parampara is given. So before I explain the whatever Om Govindrai Prabhu read, I would like you to point out this portion, especially this Evam Parampara Praptam. So we have to receive the transcendental knowledge through disciplic succession. Then it is successful. So Sri Bhagavad Gita, as it is received through this disciplic succession, Prabhupada is writing. So starting with Krishna, then Krishna spoke to Brahma. During the creation itself, tapa is coming, then Brahma is doing tapasya, then Krishna appears and he's giving the transcendental knowledge. Then Brahma, he starts creating. So he creates for Kumaras, they refuse to create. Then in anger, he creates. Then with Shiva, after Shiva, he's creating ghostly beings. Then he is very sad. Then later, he creates, of course, Swayambhu and all. Narada, he creates after that from the heart to spread the spiritual knowledge in this world. So Narada, in this Kalpa or in this day of Brahma, Narada is the son of Brahma. So Brahma imparts that to Narada, all these beautiful conversations, what Krishna spoke to Brahma, before that, how Brahma met Krishna, how Narada met Brahma, after that, what questions he asked, how Vyasa met Narada, what question, not first time, already met, but when the transcendental knowledge was exchanged. Then Vyasadev, he was in Himalayas, Badrinath. He lives Badrigashrama. So there, Madhvacharya went and met him, and then Vyasadev, from Vyasadev, he got the transcendental knowledge. Madhvacharya had many disciples. One of the prominent disciples is Padmanabha Tirtha. So he received it. In this way, Padmanabha, then Narahari, and then another Madhava, then Akshobhya, then Jayatirtha, then Jnana Sindhu, Dayanidhi, Vidyanidhi, Rajendra, Jayadharma, Purushottama, Brahmanya Tirtha, Vyasa Tirtha, Lakshmipati. So from here, if you see, these are all some of the acharyas after Madhvacharya, from Madhva. So from Vyasadev till Madhva, we can remember. And there is a set of acharyas here. And then you can easily remember after Lakshmipati is the Madhavendra Puri. The Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya starts from here 20. The first, the first Gaudiya Vaishnava is not Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's guru was Ishwarapuri. Ishwarapuri's guru was Madhavendra Puri. So we can see their pastime places in Gauda Mandala, in sometimes in Vrindavan, Puri, like this places we can see. So Madhavendra Puri, disciple is Ishwara Puri, his disciple is Lord Chaitanya. So we know Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's guru is Ishwara Puri. Then Lord Chaitanya's disciple, direct disciples are 6 Goswamis. And Raghunatha Dasa and Jiva Goswami, they accepted Rupa Goswami as guru. So Rupa, Swarupa, Sanatana, Swarupa Goswami is also Lalita Sakhi, and he was also assistant of Lord Chaitanya and Jagannath Puri. So Rupa, Sanatana, Raghunatha, we are keeping in the altar from here. Raghunatha Dasa Goswami, Raghunatha Bhatta Goswami, Jiva Goswami. So from that disciplic succession, further Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, who wrote Chaitanya Charitamrita. Then his disciple is Narottam Das Thakur. Many songs which we are singing, the Krishna songs we are singing is written by Narottam Das Thakur. He is from Bangladesh and he lived in Vrindavan, and later he again went and spread Krishna consciousness in Bengal. So after this, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, after 6 Goswamis, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, his disciple Narottam Das Thakur, and his disciple Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. And I told you some pastimes about Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Baladev Vidyabhushan. I told this Bhagavad Gita edition is Srila Prabhupada is dedicating to Balada Vidyabhushan, who went and argued in the court in Jaipur, and then Govinda himself came and dictated the Govinda Bhashya, which is the Vedanta Sutra. So this Baladev Vidyabhushan, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he lived in the bank of Radhakund in Vrindavan, and then his disciple Baladev Vidyabhushan. Then we have Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, who is a disciple. And then Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. And then we have now our Jayapataka Swami Guru Maharaj. So in this way, this disciplic section, as far as Prabhupada is concerned, he is very nicely listing out the disciplic succession, starting from Krishna till Srila Prabhupada. So this disciplic succession is not to terminate, but to expand. It will go on and on and on. It's not every current time there will be one acharya there to guide. Like that, every time there is always an acharya available, minimum to say. So this is the disciplic succession list which is given. So Prabhupada is starting the purport, this explanation by saying Evam Parampara Praptam. Through Parampara it has to be received, and he is authorizing himself. How he is authorized to translate and purport or comment on this Bhagavad Gita. What is the authority of him? So he establishes strongly his authority before he really presents Bhagavad Gita in front of us. So it's very essential for us to understand that this transcendental knowledge is coming through an authorized process of disciplic succession. So this is the disciplic succession list. And here there are 7 verses, if you see, of Gita Mahatmya. Sarvo Upanishado Gavo Dokta Gopalanandana Partho Vatsastu Bhokta Duktam Gita Amritam Mahat, like that very, very nice, sweet singing, glorifying Bhagavad Gita. This is from starting from here. Okay. Maybe if time permits, we will see, or all of you have to read this surely before you come to the next class. This Gita Mahatmya. And before we start the original Bhagavad Gita first chapter, you must be very thorough with these subjects. So you are going to have an exam. The exam can be held tomorrow or on Monday before you come to the class. You can finish the exam and come. But Monday, all of you will be working or going to college or whatever. So better to do that tomorrow. I'll be posting in the WhatsApp group the time the exam will be available. You can just, it will be mostly after 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock in the evening. Or it can be made available even in the daytime, no problem. You ping your timing, I'll send a survey. You ping your timing, accordingly we can set the timing. Okay, so let us quickly go through what Om Govindarai Prabhu read today. We saw that Yamyamba Vismaran Bhavam, whatever state one quits the body, he will attain that. And if one is remembering Krishna at the time of death, then he will go to Krishna. So, but we are engrossed in material. So, Prabhupada is suggesting to chant always Hare Krishna Mantra. Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu Mam Anusmara Udyecha. Always remember me. Always remember me. So, here Prabhupada is remember me. So, Arjuna to remember me. Lord Chaitanya injection is to chant the names of Krishna. They both are same. So, there is no difference. Because Krishna's name and Krishna are non-different. So this is the advice Krishna is giving to Arjuna. Arjuna to always remember. At the same time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving an advice, always chant Hare Krishna. So when you take this Krishna's name and himself non-different, then you always remember him if you are chanting. So another example. So here we stopped there yesterday. And today we see that there is an example is given of a lady. So here, very important, Krishna never advises to leave the worldly things. Many people think that this is a kind of a Mayavadi idea, that we need to leave the material activities or everyday activities and to engage in devotional service. That is totally wrong. They say that if you want to do tapasya, if you want to spirituality, you have to leave the family and go to Himalayas. So, but Arjuna was asked by Krishna to fight. So is it not contradictory that you go to the forest in order to practice spirituality, whereas Krishna is asking Arjuna to continue not to go to the forest, but continue to engage in his occupation while remembering Krishna. So that's an art of doing this. So here Prabhupada is explaining one has to practice Krishna consciousness in this scenario, so that the death is very, very difficult situation. Even that you can very nicely overcome, provided you practice in difficult scenario. Train hard to become successful. So here, if he does not practice remembering Krishna while he is struggling for existence, then it will not be possible for him to remember Krishna at the time of death. So, of course, maintaining our body and we need to work, all these are a struggle for existence. It is true. Not that, okay, I'll get comfortable life. I became a devotee, so I don't want to work. I want to just like that. Remember that you always will start looking for comfortable environment. Then you may not be successful at the time of death. Only in favorable situation. The death is the most difficult situation. So therefore, we have to practice remembering Krishna always 24 hours a day by chanting his names and molding our lives, activities in such a way that we can remember him always. Now, the question how it can be done, Prabhupada is giving an example of a lady who is having an affair outside of her marriage. She'll be very, very sincere to the sincere in her household work, but she'll constantly be thinking of the loved person. So the wife is who think of her lover is always thinking of meeting him, even while she's carrying out her household chores. In fact, she carries out her household work even more carefully so her husband will not suspect her attachment. Similarly, we should always remember the supreme lover. How wonderful! Prabhupada is giving this example. And this is the example given by Lord Chaitanya to Raghunath Dasa Goswami. So we celebrate Panihati festival. Raghunath Das Goswami was very, very wealthy, only son of a very wealthy family. Even now we can see in Hooghly district governmental, Raghunath Das Goswami's home and the environment, very naturally, very wealthy place. And otherwise also Jamindars they were. Hiranya Majumdar and Govardhana Majumdar were brothers. So the Hiranya Majumdar's son is Raghunath Das Goswami, only son, very petted son. And they wanted him to take up the business and grow materially. Hiranya Majumdar, he's very nice man. They both were giving a lot of money to Brahmanas of Navadvip for their sustenance. And also, Haridas Thakur used to come and sit in the Hiranya Majumdar's assembly and he used to discuss about Harinam, Hare Krishna Mantra and all. Very nice family. So he's, but he has not seen Lord Chaitanya, but he heard about Lord Chaitanya from Haridas Thakur. He became very inspired. And later he kept running towards Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and they were catching, and they had so many guards to see to that he is not running away. So Lord Chaitanya gave him an advice to be like a person who's like a lady who's having an extramarital affair, but she is very sincerely doing her household duty, but she is thinking of that meeting that other man always like that. So here one that example is given. So we should always, in material world, people need not suspect us. So we should always remember the Supreme Lover Sri Krishna, at the same time perform our material duties very nicely. So if you're a child, be a good child. If you're a student, be a good student. If you're working in an office, you be a normal, regular office goer, a person who works. Everything you do very nicely. A strong sense of love is required here. So if we have a strong sense of love for the Supreme Lord, then we can discharge our duty. At the same time, remember him. But we have to develop that sense of love. Arjuna, for instance, was always thinking of Krishna. He was the constant companion of Krishna. At the same time, he was a warrior. So it's not that Krishna's devotees are fragile, they are useless fellows, they won't do anything, they are a junk, they are beggars, they will beg and eat. Not, we are not cheap. Don't represent Krishna as a cheap person by you becoming a beggar. It's very, very important that we carry out our responsibilities at the same time, be very strong in Krishna consciousness. It's not that we get carried away by our material activities. Oh, okay, I'm working, so I will leave Krishna conscious. I will not chant. Today I didn't chant because in Bhagavad Gita it was told that you need to do your occupation. It's like an expert juggler. You should know how to juggle between. And you should keep thinking of Krishna constantly. Then automatically time will be arranged. Then we just need to take advantage of that because Krishna is in charge of everything. So Krishna did not advise him to give up fighting and go to the forest and meditate. Many people think that Bhagavad Gita is something which was advising us to go to the forest and meditate. It was spoken on a war field. It's so obvious. And Krishna engages when Arjuna refuses. So everybody knows the scenario in which we will see in the first chapter itself when Arjuna is refusing. When Lord Krishna delineates the yoga system to Arjuna, but this forest, going to the forest and meditation is considered very great. Many people have long beard and unclean and they're there and doing some. What are they striving so hard to achieve? Very easily achieved by devotional service from wherever you are. You need not, and it's insignificant. The result which they are getting by their meditation is very insignificant compared to what we achieve in devotional service. But when Arjuna was advised by Krishna that do yoga, go to the forest and then give up everything and go, then he says, no, it seems very impractical for him. It's not possible. So, sanchalatvat stitam stiram. Even my mind is constantly disturbed. How can I do this? My mind is restless and unsteady. Oh, Madhusudana, this yoga system. So, this meditation and all are bogus. Whoever is sitting as meditation person, very famous yogis are there in India. I'm from a place called Coimbatore, and where a lot of international people come there to meet a famous yogi. He's having his ashram there. Earlier, he was refusing any existence of God. When I was young, means before 12 years, he was refusing any existence of God or for worshipping of form. He didn't appreciate the worship of form, and so nobody went there. So in order to promote Hindu people coming, he had some deity installed and called it something Shiva or Adi Yogi. He never uses the term Shiva, Adi Yogi or something. Maybe recently he started using Shiva, but it's all promotion, we know, because we have been there for a long time. But Arjuna refuses this system and saying that empty your mind, don't think of anything. At least meditation means meditation should be on Krishna or some personality like Narayana or Vishnu in the heart as Paramatma. This or nothing, or nothing. Don't do anything and simply sit idle. Don't think of anything. Just simply, all of you try. Is it possible? Impossible to do that. Okay, let us assume that it's possible for you to sit quietly without thinking of anything. This is the general meditative process given there. Calm yourself, don't do. So, what is Bhagavad Gita saying? It's so dangerous to do this. How? Because in Bhagavad Gita, yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajatyante kalaivaram tam tam me vaiti kaunteya. So, whatever you practice all your life, you will become that. And that person is asking you to withdraw your senses and sit like a stone. No thought process, no physical activity. If you keep doing it continuously, then whatever you're doing, for example, we already saw how the karma works, how the law of matter works. If you like to eat blood and flesh, then you'll become a tiger in your next life. If you like to sleep, Prabhupada is giving these two examples. If you like to sleep for long hours, then 6 months you can sleep, and 6 months you can be awake. And even in that other 6 months, you can sleep a lot. That is teddy bear, that polar bear in the ice cold places. The polar bear keeps speaking. It'll get up, it'll break the ice, take some fish and eat it, and then again it'll go to sleep and sleep and sleep. Whenever it's hungry, it'll get up, it'll just break the ice and take a fish. If it's summer, it may get the fish in the water. Then again it'll go to sleep. So you can become a polar bear. So if you don't observe, if you don't engage any of your senses and mind, and if you're like a stone, you're sitting, that is the swaran, you want that, okay, become like a tree without any thought process, standing in one place without thinking anything, like this. We're going into a lower species. Why the senses are given to us? To keep quiet. So in one time, Prabhupada is telling a very, very nice analogy in another lecture that a parent is having two children. One child is very obedient and nice. Another children is very naughty and dirty and bad and like that. So the child which is nice and cooperative, the parent will never ask you, you keep quiet and sit in one place. They won't say. They will just let him be. But if the child is too naughty or bad, then the parents will say, keep quiet, sit in one place. Like that. So only the bad people are asked to shut up and sit in. So we have the senses, and you shut up all your senses, and you want to sit in a place. Why do you at all require the hands, legs, movement, eyes, nose, and all? Stand as a tree. Go. How many ever years you want, you stand as a tree without any dress. You want an only cowpin, no? Stand with that. Oh, you want to do welfare to others. Oh, very nice. You want to be not to use any of your senses, but to be welfare to others. Of course, the tree will bear fruits, flowers. It will provide shadow, and you can stand naked for hundreds and hundreds of years. So these processes are so misguiding of the society is happening. So here Arjuna is refusing this yoga system because he says it is impractical for me. I'm a normal everyday person. I'm a regular everyday person. I want to get up. I feel hungry. I want to eat, and it's not that I will without eating I'll stay, and I have gain the power not to eat and stay for a long time without engaging any of my senses and keep quiet. Then why the senses are given to you? Either you will misuse your sense or you'll shut your sense. Why can't you use it rightly? If the senses are given to you, why can't you rightly use it? Use the eye to see the form of the Lord. Use the ear to hear the glories of the Supreme Lord. Use the mouth to sing the glories of the Supreme Lord. Chant Hare Krishna. Use the hand to cook for the Supreme Lord and clean his temple, decorate the deities. Why can't you properly engage your senses? So envious. This both are symptoms of envious that we want to enjoy all by ourselves. So we use the senses. That is called sense gratification. And at the same time, I withdraw all my senses, refusing it to serve Krishna. Both are actually wrong. Both are enviousness exhibited. So people get carried away when somebody sees a person meditating. Oh, he is a very nice man. He is a big yogi and is not. He's speaking some wisdom words. And at last, what is the process? If you see, the process is what was rejected by Arjuna as impractical. Arjuna and all great warriors and performers, very intelligent. So we are in that team of Arjuna. So we are not the people who shut up and sit like that kind of people. Hmm? So the Lord further tells Arjuna that as a Kshatriya, he cannot give up fighting. But if Arjuna fights remembering Krishna, then he'll be able to remember Krishna at the time of death. So it's not assuring success to Arjuna. Even if you die in the war field, thinking of me, it is all glorious. Like you'll come back to me. Hmm? But one must be completely surrendered in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. And Arjuna did it later. At the end, he started fighting. So we generally work with our, not with the body, but with our mind and intelligence. So if the intelligence and mind is always absorbed in the Supreme Lord, then naturally senses are also absorbed in the service. So this is very important to know how to absorb in the service of the Lord. How will I be fully absorbed? Not just the body alone. Okay, I did the arati, like a machine or a robot. No. huh? Everything requires mind and intelligence. So we put our thought process, mind and intelligence in the activities, services which we do to the Lord. Hmm? So at least the activities. So what will happen when the mind is involved? Then the senses are automatically involved in the service. So the activities of the body remains the same. Even when you're going to office, you're doing some job, you can think of Krishna, you can think of the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, you can mentally chant, and these kind of activities can be done. Keep conscious of Krishna, awareness, clear understanding of Krishna. Such absorption, consciousness is a symptom of the soul. So Krishna consciousness means you as a person has nothing to do with this body. This body has to be maintained till death, that's all. The body automatically has learnt it from the very beginning, from the childhood when we were born. Parents taught us how to eat, how to sleep, how to eat, how to sleep, how to eat, how to wash ourselves. All these things are already taught, and many, many years we have been doing the same thing. What is so glorious about becoming expert in this? I'm an expert bather. I'm an expert eater. I mean, you did this all 365 days, all three times a day you ate. So what is so wonderful about becoming an expert? You have eaten that. I have eaten this. Wow, that is so. This be completely absorbed in some nonsense, and they're going to set fire or they're going to bury what we have developed so heavily. We have to now feed the soul by giving prasadam, feed the soul by giving holy name, feed the soul by. So, soul is nobody but us, even after death, we remain so, not just the body. So this is very important, that this is an art. There are two things Prabhupada is telling. This is the secret and it's an art of Bhagavad Gita. So what is this art and secret of Bhagavad Gita? Is the total absorption in the thought of Krishna. So how am I to do this total absorption in the thought of Krishna? The mind should be engaged. How will I engage my mind? By chanting and hearing. All this complexity is not there. Prabhupada very, very simply is giving that generally we do things using mind and intelligence. So if the intelligence and the mind are always engaged in the thought of Supreme Lord, then naturally, like a lady who's having an extramarital affair. That is the example he's giving very nicely. A lady, but she will keep doing her activities, but her consciousness will be absorbed in Krishna. So we have to practice this. So this is the art. We need to practice it. And this is also secret. That is the secret Krishna is telling Arjuna. So Arjuna came successful here also and became greatly successful by obeying the instruction of the Lord and becoming already is lover of the Lord. He became the more, even more dearer to the Lord. So modern man has to struggle very hard to is reaching the moon, but he has not tried very hard to elevate himself spiritually. What is the use of going to moon here? Moon is also there within. For example, in your room, there is one when you in the daytime you see the sun planet, so the sun is giving very nice light in your room and all. In the night there's a bulb. What is the use of either going to the moon, sun planet or to the bulb? I lived very close to the bulb. What is so glorious? So this material world is full of darkness. The sun is created as a daylight, and the moon is created for night light. What is so glorious about going to moon planet? But if we reach our original constitutional position from this temporary situation, we use this temporary situation as a boat to cross over this material existence, then we are the most intelligent. If one has 50 years of life ahead of him, he should engage that brief time in cultivating this practice of remembering Supreme Personality of Godhead. I think most of us have, I think I have less than 50 years because already I'm more than 50-year-old. But you guys are mostly young who are here. You surely have 50 years, around 50 years, or little less than 50 years ahead of you. So you should engage. This is a very, very brief period, the practice of remembering personality of God in any situation. Even if you are put in the womb of another parent, we should be able to mother. Still, we should be able to remember in the womb. That is an art. That's an expert. So this is Sravanam Kirtanam, service, devotional service. What is service? Not just going to the temple and taking up some service alone is service. That's also dasyam. That's one of the service, dasyam. But now you are listening to the Bhagavad Gita, that is a devotional service. And you are reading the books, you're doing chanting, you may be preaching, all those are kirtanam. And then Vishnu Smaranam, remembering the Supreme Lord. So once you do Sravanam and Kirtanam, automatically you'll remember. Tomorrow you have exam, then automatically you remember. Then read and remember. Pada Sevanam, then we do lotus feet service, especially Vaishnavas are there at the lotus feet of the Lord. We have Acharya Parampara, we serve them. Serve Guru Maharaj, and Tulasi Maharani is always at the lotus feet of the Lord. We serve her and various services and directly serve the lotus feet of the Lord. Archanam, worship of the Lord, we do Arati and everything. Then we do obeisances as soon as we see the Lord, the deities or pure devotees. Then Dasyam, servant, serving, and Sakyam, developing friendship with the Lord by exchanging confidential topic is how we exhibit the friendliness with Krishna. So not just I'm a servant, and more than that, you are everything for me, you're my best friend. And already he is a friend, he declared, we have not accepted the friend request, and it is essential for us to understand that, accept this friend request given by Krishna. And give oneself fully. So this 9 processes, Guru Maharaj in every class, most of the classes he's telling, and this Sravanam Kirtanam is manifested by Srimati Radharani as 9 islands in Navadvip. So Sravanam Simandadvip, Godramadvip Kirtanam, Smaranam is Simandadvip, Godramadvip, Madhyadvip, then Koladvip, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Kuladvib, Ritudvib, Janudvib, Modadrumadvib, Rudradvib, Antardvib. Antardvib is Atmanivedanam. Sakyam is Rudradvib, like that. So, the 9 processes, of which the easiest is Sravanam, the most easy is Sravanam. See, now all of you are, I am talking and talking, all of you are enjoying like anything. So, lying down or walking or eating, you're putting the earphone and you're hearing. It's so easy. Most of us now, I had some old friends, they've been requesting me. We see one or two of your YouTube, but better is you give us podcast. We will be very glad, give question answers. It was so interesting. So one or two of them pinged me. Long time back, they told me and Prabhu to do podcast. But now again, we got some request to do this because they would like to hear. It's more easy than to read long lot of theory. So see, now gradually we are going towards Shravanam, which will perfect for us. So we hear Guru Maharaj class, we put some earphone and listen live, even though we are not in the present place. Very favorable situation is given to us. This will lead to remembrance of the Supreme Lord, enable one to leaving the body, to attain the spiritual body, which is just for association with the Supreme Lord. Only the spiritual body we can associate with the Supreme Lord. What body we will get. So, Abhyasa Yoga Yuktena. So Param Gatim, this Paramam Purusham Divyam Yati. So, how does he reach? He meditates, the one who meditates on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, continuously engages in remembering, undeviated from the path, he will surely. This is the easiest method Prabhupada is giving us. Whatever we are doing right now, especially Sravanam. So this is not very difficult process. However, one must learn it from the experienced person. Not any Tom, Dick and Harry. I am doing, what is that? I would like to hear the Vani. So somebody said, I would like to hear the Vani. So whom, various in YouTube, so much as there, some Vani I will listen. So here very clearly it's Prabhupada is mentioning. This is not a difficult process, but you should learn from an experienced person. Tadvigyartam sagurum evabhigachet. So a person who is already in practice, who's experienced, because generally the mind is always flying to this and that, but one must practice concentrating mind always in the form of Lord Krishna, on the sound of his name. The mind is naturally restless, going hither and thither, but it can rest in the sound vibration of Krishna. So one must meditate on the Paramam Purusham. Now, do you think, because some people, they misunderstand this, thinking I should meditate on the Shama Sundara form of Krishna. No, Krishna means his name, form, qualities, and pastimes. Prabhupada very clearly explains in Bhagavatam. Many purports. We are not static. See, I'll tell you something. All of you are having smartphone. Okay. How much do you like watching a small clip like a reel or a short than watching a static picture? All of us would like that video, a moving one, rather than a static picture. Similar is when somebody meditates on the Supreme Lord in one point at attention, in one form of the Lord, in the one same dress. Not like that. Krishna performed many pastimes. We read it in Krishna book and we hear from the various pastimes. Then Krishna, with his name, form, qualities, and pastimes, fully is a moving object, moving personality, moving object. Moving object is in the video, but moving personality. So many things can be remembered about him. We can remember his devotees. We can remember him, his name, qualities, pastimes, entourage, various beautiful pastimes. And then his characters, his qualities, how he is behaving with his devotees, like this. And then we can remember his devotees. We can remember the pastimes of Acharyas. Variety. We can remember the Dham, each of the places where he performed each pastime. Like this. So much different variant. So meditate doesn't mean that like a yogi we meditate. The remembrance, the Sravanam Kirtanam, Smaranam is different from Dhyanam. This Dhyana yoga process is different from remembrance. Remembrance is something so natural. Whereas dhyana is a forceful process. So this, it may look both like a mind's activity, but gulf of differences there between both. So we do smaranam. And this meditation which Prabhupada is telling about personality of God, so maybe, for example, you have been to Mayapur, then you remember Radha Madhav, then you remember how nicely they are giving chadari in front of Narsimhadev, and how Radha Madhav was dressed very differently every day. They were having so many, each of the gopis were looking, and how Krishna is so wonderful in Vrindavan. So we remember so many things, and during Damodar we see him, and then we think how the same Krishna is so powerful. He lifted the Govardhan and all. He's so scared of Yashoda's stick. But the same Krishna is so, the Indra is getting scared after putting the rain. Like that, we can compare his quality. And so beautifully, we can remember as we keep hearing about him more and more and more. As a personality, rather than one deity of, or one form meditation. We are not Shyama Sundara form, you meditate. That's called Jnana Mishra Bhakti, Dhyana Mishra Bhakti. We don't mix bhakti with anything. Maranam is bhakti, but dhyanam or meditation is not bhakti. So the spiritual sky, then this, the way to attain means of. So this door of knowledge is or open for everyone. No one is barred out. All classes of men can approach Lord Krishna by thinking of him. So how it is possible? For hearing and thinking of him are possible for hearing. Only when you keep hearing, you can keep thinking. Without hearing, how will you think? So Sravanam is mandatory. It's a very, very important process. So here, Sri Vaishya Sudra, Krishna is saying, everybody, anybody, Papa Yonayaha, Striyo Vaishya Tata Sudras, Tepiyanti Param Gatim. So these are considered low class earlier. Now Kalau Shudra Sambhavaha. In Kali Yuga, everybody is Shudra. There is no Vaishya, there is no Kshatriya, there is no Brahmana. Only Vaishnavas. And everybody else is Shudras. That's all. Kali Yuga. Ekavarnam. Only one Varna. So a human being, and Devi Varnashrama Dharma is nothing but we have to do some occupation. And that occupation may involve some management, sometime it may involve some agriculture or whatever it is. But that doesn't mean that we have qualified Vaishya or whatever. So the Lord says that even a merchant, a fallen, whoever is the lowest, whoever is born in a very, very low status, they can attain the supreme. One doesn't require a very highly developed engineer. Oh, he's very knowledgeable. So one time we were giving some class, and the one boy came and asked, there is another person, he was very knowledgeable, so I was behind him. But after speaking to you people, then I understand you have a lot of knowledge like that. Then I said, no, don't go behind knowledge, go behind the devotional service and practice Krishna consciousness under a person who's very nicely practicing Krishna consciousness. And also engaging everything is in the service of the Lord, who's engaging everything, whatever he's getting, whatever is the arrangement. So various arrangements are required for Janmashtami and so many things. So if a person is practicing all this devotional service there, then they are considered glorious. When the hand is cutting vegetable for Krishna, cleaning, even at home you have small deity, you dress them up beautifully, bathe them. All these things are excellent, excellent services. This Bhakti Yoga is considered as the greatest. The point, anyone who accepts the principle of Bhakti Yoga and accepts Supreme Lord, Samman Bono. But even though you have deity, but more than deity worship is important is chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That is very, very important. The highest target, the ultimate goal can approach Lord in the spiritual sky. So the principles of Bhakti Yoga can take you to the spiritual sky. One adopts to the principle enunciated in Bhagavad Gita, he can make his life perfect and make permanent solution to all the problems of his life. And then here, reading in conclusion, Bhagavad Gita is a transcendental literature. It's not absolute, it is not relative truth, it is absolute truth. So one should read very carefully. So we are going to enter into Bhagavad Gita. So we have put a strong base for Bhagavad Gita, but I would like to take you through a course which was very highly successful. The 5 topics of Bhagavad Gita and the various yogas, comparison of various yogas, the very, very simple elementary course. But if you do that elementary course, the advantage is you can become one of the best preachers for a newcomer who is not into Krishna consciousness, who is not chanting, to make somebody chant 1 round minimum to start with. If you want some course, then it can be taken. It's a short-term course, but you need to learn it nicely as a teacher. So we are giving teachers training course on that, the preachers training course on the introduction to Bhagavad Gita, the 5 topics, and the mainly the yoga system and the topmost yoga system. That can be done before we start Bhagavad Gita. Anyway, let us see if we have this. Is it essential for us to do it or now or at the end of Gita? We will see. Because end of Gita, there will be too much information. But right now, we have basics. So let us see when to do it. I'll also discuss with Prabhu, and you can also give your opinion in WhatsApp. Okay, so now I give you this exercise. This will also come in the exam. So kindly read it properly. This Gita Mahatmya, very nice slokas. It is not part of Bhagavad Gita. It is just the glorification of Bhagavad Gita given by Shankaracharya. But Prabhupada quotes this in many places. It's a very sweet song, and we should understand Shankaracharya is Shiva, Lord Shiva. He wanted to promote Krishna Bhakti, but Lord asked to hide and promote Mayavada. So he just did his duty, but basically he's a devotee. So he somehow or other is devotional qualities were exhibited now and then. So this is one of the places where it was exhibited. So you can go through this Gita Mahatmya and also the list of Parampara. So thoroughly go through this introduction portion. It's not very large, but it's full of content. Nicely go through. You will be getting 25 questions. Random, of course. It's a big question bank. So you'll get any questions like 25 questions and you'll be given only 12.5 minutes, 13 minutes. And within 13 minutes, you need to answer. So it is in the same model as it was for your Ishopanishad. So be prepared when before you start your exam, be mentally and physically prepared around no deviations, nothing, and don't waste your time. And after that, come and tell that, oh, maybe we missed the time, so we want no. Now you know the pattern. And when you open the first screen, take just 10 seconds to go through what is there in the screen, where the question is appearing, how many questions are there, and what is the time remaining. On top right corner, you will have the time remaining. On the left side, you will have boxes and boxes, which are all question numbers. So you can have a pen and paper or paper next to you so that you can note down if number of the question, so that in case if you want to navigate back and forth, you need not always press previous and next and go through navigation. You can directly jump into that particular question. So in this way, just take just 5 10 seconds to go through what basically the pattern is, to learn it, and then you keep doing. Okay. So all the best for your exam. Generally, we'll have mostly chapter wise or 6 chapter together. 6 chapter together is very heavy, but we'll see how the pattern of exam should be for the further Bhagavad Gita. But for now, introduction is a kind of heavy subject, so we are doing it here for introduction. Okay, all the best. Any questions or comments? Otherwise, our class means the classes will be on Monday only. Tomorrow there won't be any class. So based on the survey, when you want the exam, accordingly it can be conducted. Any questions or comments? Already it's 10:30. Sorry, I joined a little late. Whenever if you see that if I'm not coming after 9:05 or something, somebody can start the kirtan, and each one can take a shift, and you can keep doing Harinam. It'll bring auspiciousness into the session instead of simply quietly waiting. Okay. If there are no more questions, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, let us offer obeisances to all the Vaishnava devotees and to our team members and to Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा
कृपा
सिन्धुभ्यो
सिन्धुभ्यः च
पतितानां
पतितानां
पावनेभ्यो
पावनेभ्यो
वैष्णवेभ्यो
वैष्णवेभ्यो
नमो
नमो
नमः।
नमः।
प्रभुपाद की जय,
जय
प्रभुपाद की जय।
जय
जय
गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि
हरे